guys, in this video, I'm gonna share with you exactly how to handle expired objections over the phone so you can set more appointments. I wrote down 5 points. I'm not only gonna share with you how to do it, I'm gonna give you the script, okay, on how to do it. So hang in there. The first thing I wrote down is this. Remember that there are only a few expired objections. There are not 100 of them. There are some common objections, and when you call new expireds, new meaning the ones that expired today, because that's when you need to call them. When they're new, they're hot, you're gonna hear some common objections over and over and over, which obviously makes it easier for you to actually master the stuff, because it's not 100 different things you're hearing, it's always the same. And when you learn how to respond, they're yours. And expireds are the single best source of immediate business. It's amazing. I love FizzBoost too. Maybe you know, maybe you don't. Like, I'm obsessed with FizzBoost. But expireds are easier for you to list if you're able to handle their objections over the phone. So, what are some of these common objections? I wrote down, I'm not selling anymore. Super common. Where were you when my house was for sale? I'm going to relist with the same agent. What do you do differently? And call me if you have a buyer, but I'm not listing the house. These are some very common ones. I cannot even think of others. I mean, they may say some different things, but they all, it's almost the same stuff. Once in a while, you may hear something off the wall. You don't need to worry about how to handle an off the wall objection that you hear in 1 in 1,000. What you need to do is focus on learning how to handle the most common ones, because that is going to get you a lot of appointments. So let's talk about the first one that I wrote down, which is I'm not selling anymore. How do you respond when they say that? I like to say, oh, okay, so you're just going to leave it off the market then? Now, with most expired listings, they're not very patient people. I'm generalizing because I have called a lot of new expireds and I have clients that are doing it, so I know that that's how it works. They're not patient. They're getting a lot of calls. They're frustrated because the house didn't sell. So you cannot hesitate. I mean, you shouldn't hesitate with anybody on the phone, but you can no, if you're in that mode, they're going to hang up on you very quickly. At the same time, when they say they're not selling anymore, the first thing I say being, oh, okay, so you're just leaving it off the market then. I'm sort of acknowledging what they're saying with a tonality of, okay, no big deal. I want to take away the thought in their mind that I'm going to be asking for a listing appointment, which is what most agents are doing. And they already said they're not selling anymore. So if they start to feel any kind of pressure that you're taking them in direction of wanting to meet, they're going to hang up. So the tonality with which I say, and they're going to say, yeah, I'm not going to sell it for now. No problem. I'm just curious. And say their name. I like using people's name. I'm just curious, Jackie, if you were absolutely confident that your house would sell, would you consider putting it back on the market now? The tonality with which I said that, you could rewind and listen to it again, write down the words word for word, but also the tonality. It's very non-threatening. Expireds are new expireds. They're on edge. They're getting bombarded with phone calls from real estate agents and saying, I'm not selling anymore. It's a quick, easy way to just get this phone call over with. And they don't want any pressure. So the tonality is critical. So would you consider putting it back on the market now? And some of them would say, I'm not confident. No, whatever they may say here, right? If they say no, let's assume that, right? That they say, no, I'm really not selling. Then I'm going to repeat that and I'm going to say, and Jackie, I understand why you wouldn't even want to consider selling it anymore, because you had it on the market for 6 months and it didn't sell. So there's no reason for you to think that all of a sudden there's a way to sell it. Here's what I'm thinking, Jackie, and you're under no obligation. Whether you sell this house now, a year from now, or 5 years from now, considering that you had it on the market and it didn't sell, I'd like to come by and meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you what it would take to get this property sold if and when you're ready to sell it. And again, no pressure, no obligation on your end. I just want to be able to share with you what I do differently to get houses sold in today's market. Because in the last 6 months, while your home was listed for sale, I've been able to sell X number of properties. And if you're X, whatever number you sold, right? And if you're brand new to real estate and you didn't sell anything yet, use your company stats. I'd like to share with you how my company actually sold 100 homes in the last 6 months while your home was for sale. So what would be a good time for me to come by? I have an opening today at 3 o'clock. Would 4 be better? Or you could even skip that altogether if you're brand new and you don't feel comfortable, whatever. You don't need to necessarily use that. You could just say, I'd like to come by for 20 minutes and show you what I do differently to get houses sold in today's market. Would 3 o'clock work for you? Would 4 be better? That's it. Now, this is not that complicated, okay? This is not brain surgery. This is easy. I just shared with you what to say. You're going to hear that from a lot of expired listings. And you not learning what to say is costing you a fortune. And I just showed you and I gave you what to say. So learn it so you could start setting appointments. Okay, the next objection. Where were you when my house was for sale? So I would say, first thing I'm going to do is some approval here. I would say, Jackie, that's probably the most important question that you want an answer to, because bottom line is you had the house for sale for 6 months. It didn't sell. And all of a sudden, I'm sure I'm not the only agent calling you today and saying that I can sell the property. And Jackie, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you that I have a buyer for your house right here, right now, because if any agent had a buyer, your home would be sold. It wouldn't have expired. What I'd like to do, Jackie, is come by and meet with you and show you exactly what I was doing to get my listings sold in the last 6 months and how I will be able to find a buyer for your property, just like I did for all of the sellers who hired me. So would you be available around 3 o'clock today? Would 4 be better? So where were you when my house was for sale? That's one thing you can say. Something else you could say is, look, Jackie, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you that, well, I give you some runaround and story. Bottom line is, I did not bring a buyer to your property. First of all, I didn't even know that your house was for sale, and I don't mean that in any disrespectful way. And there are thousands of homes in the multiple listing service, and your agent didn't personally contact me to tell me about your home. So I was actually busy looking for buyers for the sellers who hired me. And I'd like to come by and share with you how I can do the same thing for you. Would you be available around 3 o'clock today? Would 4 be better? Okay, so you got 2 different options there. How about the next one? I'm going to relist with the same agent. I would say, Jackie, I hear what you're saying and I respect that. I don't personally know your previous agent, but I would imagine since you're considering relisting with them, I'm sure he or she is a good agent. And at the same time, Jackie, since they had your house listed for 6 months and it didn't sell, I'd like to come by and meet with you for just 20 minutes before you make a final decision to relist with that agent, just to give you a second opinion and share with you what I do differently from other agents to get properties sold in today's market. Would 3 o'clock work for you today? Would 4 be better? Another one, as I was saying, just came to my mind that I really like is saying something like this. Look, Jackie, I respect what you're saying. And quite honestly, I really like the fact that you're considering relisting with the same agent, because I specialize in selling homes like yours that other agents couldn't sell. And most expired listings, homes that come off the market and they're not sold like yours, sellers are really not happy with their previous agent. And it sounds like you were pretty happy. So that actually makes me feel good. It gives our industry a better name than we currently have. And at the same time, Jackie, you sound like a smart lady. Wouldn't you agree that the same agent doing the same thing is likely to produce the same results? Yeah, but they're going to do something different now. And I hear you, Jackie. And don't you wonder why they didn't do that in the last 6 months? Here's what I'm thinking. Just so you can be sure that this time around, your home will sell. Let me come by for just 20 minutes and show you what I do differently to get houses sold in today's market. And then, hey, at the end of our meeting, you can decide what's best for yourself. Are you available around 3 o'clock today? Would 4 be better? There you go. You have a script for that. The next one, what do you do differently? I love this. So you're going to repeat it later and say, and you know, Jackie, that is a great question. And probably the most important question you need an answer to. And that's exactly why I want to come by and meet with you for just 20 minutes. And in those 20 minutes, I'll share with you exactly what I do differently to find buyers for the properties that I list. Because ultimately, that's what you're looking for. You're looking for an agent who knows how to find the buyer for your property, right? Well, yeah, that's right. Great. Well, would be a good time for me to come by? I have an opening today around 3 o'clock. Would 4 be better for you? And the last one, call me if you have a buyer, but I'm not listed. And I would say, Jackie, I appreciate the offer, and I completely understand why you wouldn't want to list the property. I mean, you've already done that, and that didn't work. So why would you want to do the same thing again? I completely understand. And at the same time, since you are offering to pay a commission if I happen to have a buyer, it sounds like even though you don't want to list the property, you're still interested in selling it, right? So all of this to come to the motivation. I mean, obviously they want to sell it. Otherwise they wouldn't say, bring me a buyer. And they would say, well, yeah, I do want to sell it. And then I'm going to change the conversation here and say, great. So here's what I propose, Jackie, and you are under no obligation. I'd like to come by and meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you what is it that I do to find buyers for the properties that I list and how I would be able to find the buyer for your property. Let's say they say, well, if you know how to find a buyer, just find a buyer. And when you have the buyer, then you call me. I'm not interested in listing. I appreciate what you're saying, Jackie. And you sound like a smart lady. And I'm sure you would agree with me that finding a buyer for a property, in this case, your property, it really isn't all that easy. I mean, your home was on the market for 6 months and it didn't sell. And that's because it takes a lot of time, energy, effort, and money to find the right buyer for your property. And again, I know you're not looking to list the property, and I respect that. If I was in your situation, after 6 months of being on the market and not selling, I wouldn't be interested in listing with another agent either, because I'm sure you're thinking, all agents are the same. They all do the same thing. So why am I going to waste my time? I understand, and I respect that. And I'm still proposing, Jackie, that you give me just 20 minutes of your time, and I promise you it's not going to be a waste of your time. At the end of our meeting, whatever you decide is perfectly fine, but I promise you that you will know exactly why your house didn't sell and what it will take to actually get it sold. Are you available for 20 minutes around 3 o'clock today? Would 4 be better? There you have it. You have the script. Obviously, I say this is easy. It's just a conversation that you need to master. You master by practicing it. I wrote down a couple of other points here. I want to finish this up for you. If you hear an objection and you have no idea what to say, because that happens. It happened to me. Yes, in that moment, it doesn't happen anymore, but in the moment, you're like, especially when you haven't mastered this yet. The worst thing you can do in that moment is hesitate. It's like, that's it, you're done. Okay, when you're talking to somebody you don't know, you hesitate, they hesitate, the call's over. So what you do when you don't know what to do is repeat and approve. Ask a question, repeat the question. So Jackie, what I hear you saying is, if I happen to have a buyer, great, give you a call and you would consider, but you don't want to list the property. I'm just repeating what they're saying. Repeat, approve, ask a clarifying question. That's what you do. You keep this conversation moving. And while you do that, you're buying time, okay? You're buying time. Don't worry about how it happens. That's exactly how it happens. And all of a sudden, sometimes the objection goes away or the answer just comes out of your mouth. You've heard it before. You've heard it here on this video. You've heard it in different places. So you know the answer. It's just that in the moment when they're agitated, a little bit hostile, and you're under pressure, you're not ready to respond. But the repeating, approving, asking clarifying questions will get you there. Then I also wrote, take the pressure off. I like to say, Jackie, you're under no obligation. Let me come by. Saying that alone, they already feeling, okay, well, yeah, I'm not under pressure to list the house. And she's going to tell me why it didn't sell, what it would take. Okay, and it's only 20 minutes, which is easy for them to say yes to. So take the pressure off, okay? Make it easy for them to say yes, and you're going to get a lot more yeses. And the last thing I wrote down is never hang up on an expired call. So how are these calls going to end? You're committed to staying in this conversation until they hang up on you. So you're not allowed to hang up on them. This is called the hang up game. You don't hang up. You got to get hung up on. And trust me, when you have this kind of mindset on a call, I'm going to stay here. I may not know what to say. If I don't know what to say, I'm going to do what Jackie said. And I'm going to listen to this again. And I'm going to write down the objections. And I'm going to keep this going somehow until they are just either they give you the appointment or they hang up on you. You're going to get so much better, so much faster. And also, remember, 80% of all the yeses come after 5 closes. So you got to ask 5 times before you have an 80% chance of getting a yes. So when you play the hang up game, trust me, you're going to get better faster and you're going to set a lot more appointments.